A checkbox component maintains an internal state, which can be changed by the mouse. It can be used to answer yes or no, true or false, or for selecting and deselecting members of a list. This program implements the Action Listener interface and responds to a regular button, and it implements the Item Listener interface to receive an event every time a checkbox is toggled. Now, this program displays a collection of 4 checkboxes. This declaration creates an array of 4 references to checkbox objects. Remember, this line of code only creates the references, not the checkboxes themselves. I know what you're thinking. I've been programming in Java for several years, and this line of code still looks like it ought to create checkboxes, but it doesn't. Along with the 4 checkboxes, we are also creating an OK button. Inside the Make Panel method, the 4 checkboxes are constructed. Each one is constructed with its own label. Each one has an Add Item Listener added to its internal list, and it's added to the panel for display. After all 4 checkboxes have been constructed, the OK button is created, has this Action Listener object added to its internal list, and is also added to the panel for display. Now, this method is called whenever the button is pressed. This loop executes once for each checkbox and reports the current state of each one of them. Now, this line of code may look a little bit cryptic to you, but there's only one thing in here that's completely new. Right here, we are calling a method from an object that is in an array of objects. So we have a combination of a subscript and a dot reference. If this were not an array, it would simply be a box.getState. This is exactly the same thing, but with a subscript added onto the end of the box. Now, this getState method returns either a true or false. If it is true, this string is stored in the state string. If, on the other hand, this is false, this string is stored into the state string. Here we construct the output string for the checkbox. To identify it, the getLabel method is called and combined with a string resulting from the call to getState, so this line reports both the name and the current state of the checkbox. This loop reports the state of all 4 checkboxes. Now, this method is called every time a checkbox is toggled either on or off. What we want to do is report the new state of the one that has been toggled. We have to loop through all 4 of them to find the one that has had its state changed. When it is found, we determine its current state and output a line of text describing which state it was switched to. The program looks like this when it runs. As you can see, each time a checkbox is toggled, a new state is reported. And when the button is pushed, we get the state of all 4 checkboxes reported. Making a slight modification to this program converts the group of checkboxes into a group of radio boxes. Any checkbox can be used as a radio box if the checkbox is included in a checkbox group object. Now, this is not a component. It's not even visible. It's sort of a linker that hooks the components together. Here, a checkbox group is created. We're not going to need to save the reference to it anywhere, so its address can be stored in this reference that's local to this method. The call to method setCheckboxGroup of the checkbox stores the address of this group in the checkbox. All 4 checkboxes have this same method call to store the group inside them. The object is passed to them, and this organizes all 4 checkboxes into the same group. That's the only change in the code, and here's how the program runs. Now, the first thing you can see is that the shape of the buttons have all changed. They're round, indicating their membership in a group. Note that only one at a time can be set. Also notice that the callback happens for the one that is being set, never for the one that is being automatically unset. The OK button still works the same. It's always possible to read all the settings.